road again, just can't wait to get on the road again. Well, I'm on the road again, and right now I'm at a place called Fort Pickens Federal Park. I took a short, quick month off to visit my 94-year-old father in Vancouver, to spend Christmas with him and to visit with my family. It was a nice time, and it's always good to spend Christmas with somebody. It was really empty when I left. You never know when it's the last time. There's always a last time for everything. Last time for a hug, a last time to see someone alive, and sometimes we just have to let go. Anyways, I flew back to Mobile and gave a presentation to the Mobile Yacht Club, and there I was again welcomed by Josh, who's allowed me to stay in his sailboat. Wow, I really feel rich, living in a sailboat. And then also Maureen, who drove me to the airport, and then she picked me up again when I came back. So thanks to the Mobile Yacht Club and all the wonderful people who I talked with while I was there. Lovely place. On paddle day 142, I left the yacht club and went straight across Mobile Bay to a place called Faith Hope. And I got to the beach and I saw this woman, and I asked her, I said, "You don't think it'd be okay if I camped on the beach here?" She says, "No, probably not." But Harriet was a kayak enthusiast, and later on I had dinner with her and her husband. But I just paddled 50 yards, or let's say 50 meters over to the Legion, and I met some guys there, and they said, "Yeah, you can camp on our property, no problem whatsoever." So I camped with the Legions and had a great evening watching the final college football game, and just being with Americans. It was fun. Paddle day 143 took me south along Mobile Bay, past Point Clear, into another bay called Bon Secure Bay, and from there I went into yet another bay called Oyster Bay, and made my way to the entrance of the Intracoastal Waterway at a place called Portage Creek. It was a good paddle day, 48 kilometers, and I found a nice little spot to camp for the evening, and got up the next day feeling rather refreshed and thankful for that day that I had. On paddle day 144, I had a kind of a late start around 8 o'clock, but I was feeling a bit depressed. Actually, in all honesty, I've been feeling rather down the whole last week. Just emptiness. Even though I'm experiencing all these great things, it's just like some type of depression just kind of sets in. Either you feeling lonely or something, I don't know, but hopefully it'll pass. Anyways, I paddled down Portage Creek and made my way across another small little bay, and I needed to answer some emails which were urgent, so I pulled into a place called I believe Point Bear Marina, and I just asked if I could sit there and work a bit, and they said, "Nah, no problem." And I met a really nice waitress, and I met the manager called Henry, And he asked me if I was hungry, and I said yes. And he provided me with a fantastic lunch. And that, in a way, just kind of lifted my spirits. After I was finished, the wind was blowing pretty good, but I just headed out and made it all the way to Perdido Key. And I tried to find a place to stay there. I asked an RV campground if I could stay there. No way. There was a tow service building and asked if I could stay there. No way. But then right across the river or the lagoon was a place called Big Lagoon State Park. I paddled there and slept under a gazebo that evening, and the wind just really blew up and the lightning came, and what an evening. I tied my tent to the park benches and weathered out the storm, but I was very happy to have a roof over my head. I met a nice guy called Sean, and we had a lot of long talks. Sean is not homeless in a way, but he is living out of his truck, and he's working and trying to save enough money so he can buy a house. He's paid off his truck, but he doesn't like the thought of loaning money. So good luck, Sean, as you continue your landscaping business, and thanks for all the good talks that we had when I was with you there. The next day the storm really wasn't over, so I ended up just camping out under the gazebo and taking life as easy as I could. There's a really nice family, Mark Johnson's family, which brought food down 2 days in a row. First day they gave me a hamburger, then they came back the next day with a great bowl of chili, and I was able to eat with their sons and his beautiful wife. Lovely people. Paddle day 145, I left Perdido Key around 8ish, 9ish or so, and I wanted to go to a designated camping site, which was around 35 kilometers, but the wind really isn't finished yet, so I only got around 19 kilometers, and I pulled into shore and I saw a house, and I thought maybe I could camp there. Anyways, it wasn't a house, it was actually Fort Pickens Federal Park, which has over 200 camping spots. What a beautiful place. So I asked them if I could just, have my kayak on the beach and camp there. And they said, no way, not possible. The rangers won't like it. So I said, well, why don't I just leave my kayak there, and then maybe I can just put my tent, beside your, the garage where you have some of your, vehicles. Nope, no way. So anyways, what happened, it's bureaucracy, but yeah, they sold me a camping spot for $40, and it was like at least a 15-minute, 20-minute walk to the camping place. So I ended up putting my kayak in the garage, and eventually I was going to walk to my camping site with all my gear, but Chad, one of the staff members, said, no, I'm going to drive you. And Chad, what a great guy. He told me about Fort Pickens, the history.
1834, like we said.
Okay.
It's really old for Americans. It's not old for you.
Yeah.
But it was part of the third system of forts.
Okay. To protect the country against...
To protect the country. Mm-hmm. The big change for the third system was they made them, the shape of them.
Yes.
How there's a lot more angles.
Okay, who are they protecting themselves from?
Well, at the time, because you're talking about after the war, 1812.
Yeah.
So they're still worried about British, and then of course World War I, World War II, Germans.
Okay.
Japanese, Axis powers at the time.
Okay. And I ended up spending a good night in my bed, and it was terribly cold. So I had the sleeping bag right up around my head, which was a warm feeling. Okay, go around here. Fort Pickens Federal Park wouldn't let me stay at the close to my kayak, and they wouldn't let me stay on the beach. So now I've had to go to Campground Loop A just to put up my tent for $40 a night. And now I'm walking back to the office so I can be with my tent. Excuse me. Walking back to the office so I can get my kayak, which they put in a building. They wouldn't let it on the road. So, oh, what a journey this was, man. On paddle day 146, I paddled from Fort Pickens to my designated kayak spot on Big Sabine Point on the Gulf Islands National Seashore. It was a long paddle, around 3 hours, and I made it before sunset and was able to put up my tent and have some food before I gave in for the night. Paddle day 147 was also a long paddle day. I paddled some 46 kilometers, and I ended up camping on a place called Spectre Islands, just west of Fort Walton Beach. Again, beautiful sunsets, but it was cold in the mornings when I woke up. Really cold. But it's a good paddling day, and I'm thankful for any good paddling day I can get. Every day isn't the same, but I get nervous about a couple of things, and my radio, my VHF, has rusted completely out, the antenna, and it just fell apart. And I really don't want to paddle without actually having that fixed. Okay, this antenna is totally broken, and I really need to get a new antenna. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. But I just got to go into Adventure Marina and ask them there. So I go into Adventure Marina, and they're closed. So I go across the road to another marina, and they don't have it. So I come back, and I meet this guy called Derek, who runs a pontoon and jet ski shop. And he buys a VHF, and he takes off the antenna, and he gives the antenna to me to put on my VHF. Derek, you're a super guy, and I thank you for helping me out. There it is, my new antenna, thanks to Derek. After I got the antenna fixed, I headed towards Miramar Beach. And I had a place I wanted to camp, but it's a really ritzy place. So I ended up ditching that idea, and I went further, but I had a horrible time trying to find a place to tent. Okay, last night, and wow, I paddled and tried to find a place to stay, and no one would let me stay on the property. So I asked the girl if there's a boat ramp. She says, yes, it's around the bend. And I paddled around the bend, and I found this vacant lot, and I said, this is where I'm going to stay. And so I stayed here. and I didn't even have time to eat. I went for a walk, came back, I went to bed, and something smelled kind of weird, but I just didn't think about it until I got up the next day. And sometimes you find things on the beaches that are a bit different. Here's one that's a bit different. It's a cow, at least the head of a cow, and I'm glad I'm glad it hasn't begun to stink, or else I couldn't have stayed here last night. But wow, there it is. Paddled around, I don't know, 5 days, 7 days in a row, and now I'm just gonna stop. It's only 11:30 or so, and I've decided to eat at this little restaurant, and then I'm gonna camp around 2 miles from here before I enter a long canal, which is around 25 miles, and I'll do that tomorrow. But it's a cozy little restaurant here. Take a look.
Once I thought I loved just you, and I thought you loved me too. But just look what thoughts will do. For today you sail through. Now another wears the crown, and you think that you have found just what makes your world go round. Watch those thoughts that get you down.